Betty Werner.
Here.
Dave Waymeyer.
Here.
Dan Cassett.
Here.
Debbie Totenbush. Jeff Patkey. Here. Kevin Creedy.
Here.
Greg Scornia.
Here.
Darren Lamb.
Okay, now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing is the approval of our minutes from March the 6th, with one change that I know of, minor. It's Gavin, not Gain.
Oh. Sorry about that.
Them,
And called worse.
Huh? So, do I have a motion for approval?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a motion from Dan and a second, Gavin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Parks report?
Parks report. So in your packet, you have a report for March. Probably, Casey informed me that you may have not have had these for a while. So take a look at that. And then I do have some stuff I'm going to speak about here. Just some updates, and I'll try to go, I got a number of them. I'll try to go as quick as possible. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Disc golf, they've been working, finally got over to Burger Park this week. Last 2 days they've been over there, pretty much the whole crew's been over there. And they have, I believe, 11 holes started. They concreted some today, some pads where the baskets will go. So that's underway. Now that the weather's kind of broken, although it's going to rain tomorrow. So a couple weeks ago they did the medians out on 100.
Great job. You look wonderful.
They did them in like record time, like 4 days total. I think in the past it's taken them about, Chad said about a week and a half because they would get pulled off for various reasons and things like that. And this time they sent the whole crew out there and they did about one, some days they did two a day, but they got them all knocked out in 4 days, so that was great. Also been down at the, last week down at the Riverfront. We've been preparing for a number of events down there, including the bridge implosion, which was delayed a week. River Relief that's coming up next weekend, well, late next week and next Saturday. And then, later this month we'll have Sunset on the Riverfront. And so they did some grading down there. The sewer pipe that was replaced last year and the dirt that was left to settle over the winter, that was all graded out and seeded and strawed. Some of the rocks picked out of it. What else? Let's see. Borgia had a group of students down there that needed service hours. I think it was like 14 or 15 of them. And they picked up trash in the park and along some of the trails. And then there's a couple barriers, concrete barriers in the gravel parking lot where the sand plant used to be. When we have the bridge implosion, that's in that general area, there's a point that sticks out there. The media that's covering the bridge implosion will be in that area. And there was some concrete barricades there that had some nasty words on them. And so the students painted those barriers as part of their service project. So there's some white barriers down there that used to have some graffiti on them. And I think there's some of the other barriers. I think they got all the nasty stuff off. So we should be in good shape there for when we have the bridge implosion. And then they're also, the parks guys, hopefully Friday they'll get back down there. There's 2 slabs of concrete sidewalk that need to be replaced. One right almost in front of the door where you walk out of the Waterworks building, and then another one further down the pathway. They're hoping to form those up on Friday and hopefully, I think, pour on Monday. So then everything should be back to normal down there, I think. Also, the guys are in the process of opening park restrooms. I believe the ones out on the Lakeview are open, but we still got to get a number of the other ones open. They ran into a few issues opening the ones on out at Lakeview, and that kind of delayed them. So hopefully we'll have all of them open here shortly.
Vandalism issues or?
No, piping and plumbing,
Okay.
you know, kind of minor stuff, but it's just kind of delayed the process. No vandalism that I know of. Right now, just currently, we have that, I think you guys are all aware of, we're advertising for a ball field prep, park laborer. Applications have been slow, but I'm hoping, we've been putting it out, some of you guys have probably seen it on Facebook and different places like that. We have flyers up around the building, and, so if you know anyone, please let me know. That is a critical position we need to get filled soon.
Do you have any applications? You said they're slow?
No.
None, they're really slow.
Oh, yeah, really slow.
Non-existent.
Yeah, no.
So, but we've been working with Shauna in HR and trying to advertise a little more, and so hopefully something comes in soon. So, working through that, and then on Friday, Josh and Chad and I are attending the Tree City USA reception at the Lodge at Des Peres in St. Louis to receive our recognition for 2018. And also want to make you guys aware, all the Parks and Rec staff and all the building and ground staff, so Bruce and Carl, were trained in CPR this month. So everyone's trained in CPR just in case something happens around these buildings or out in the parks. And then finally, we had a work day up at Miller Post on Saturday the 30th in the cold, freezing rain, and they got a lot of work done. I was really surprised that was the second day, you know, that was already a makeup date from the first date that got rained out. So they did it, and I commend them because I remember it was very cold and rainy that day. Yeah, they did get work done. And then also,
How many do you have up there?
initially there was supposed to be, I think, a group of like 70,
70 to 80
Yeah.
is what it was.
and I think that's what showed
There were a
up.
lot of people showed up.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
Rain gear on.
yeah. It was cold. I think most of the afternoon was like 39 degrees, so, and windy. And then finally, just so you guys are aware, Jackie Miller purchased a Franklin County stainless steel kite and had it painted, and she would like it placed up at Miller Nature Reserve, somewhere around the entrance. And so we actually have it down in the park office. It's beautiful. It's very nice. So we'll have to figure out where and how we can display that. And then you also hear about another kite coming up soon from someone in the audience. The Art Council had one made too. So that's my report. Any questions?
When they're trained with CPR, are they also cross-trained with the AEDs?
Yes, yes. It was CPR and first aid and AED training.
Okay,
So
thank
yeah, it was a good 4 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and it was 3 different dates, 2 Fridays and a Thursday to get everyone in. And Mark Scornia did our training.
You said the bridge was postponed a week, so it's
So it's
scheduled for
supposed to be next week, next Thursday, I believe.
next Thursday. Right now, that's the tentative date.
That's the tentative date. I think they were supposed to have a meeting yesterday or today to determine if the river was going to be low enough.
River's dropping, but it's supposed to be about right at their cutoff level, so.
Yeah. So I haven't heard for sure if it's a for sure go. I just know that was the date they were shooting for.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Communications from the audience?
We do have someone. Yes, so we have Rebecca, Mayor.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rebecca Mayer. I'm the new president of the Arts Council. We've had some people who ended up aging out, I guess, of the board. That's John Vittmeyer, Nora Bellows, and Jeannie Miller-Wood. And during their time, I think the park was gifted with these sculptures by Larry Pogue. And we just tried to figure out what to do with them, talked about a sculpture park, et cetera. And Wayne and Darren and Sandy and I talked the other day, and I think we have some spots for them around town and not necessarily all in one place. And One would be in that little nook right outside the entrance to City Hall here. It's in between the glass and the bricks, and there's an electric outlet, and some of these are lit sculptures. And I thought that one of the lit sculptures, Chariots of Fire or the Wind Chime one, might be appropriate there. I also talked to Darren about who owns the wall back there on the other side of the farmer's market. There's the mural side, and then there's the other side. And I think that it kind of belongs to the city. At any rate, I talked to Rick Marquardt, and he's all for doing something up there. There are 2 4x4 ones that go flat on a wall, and then there's another one that's has the same design elements in it, an orbit it's called. And I thought that we could probably wash that wall, prime it, and paint it all one color or maybe 2 colors on the planes, and put 2 of those hanging sculptures and another one called Orbit there. There's one called, yes.
Rebecca, is that on the concrete portion of the lower parking lot or the metal
It's-
fence on the upper?
Well, it'll be the concrete portion. I wanted it up out where people aren't going to be grabbing at it. And that's one thing about these. I just don't know how it'll go. But I thought the Missouri Fish one might be very nice down at the Riverfront Park, maybe in that place that's already landscaped in front of the restrooms. We talked about that one. Or by the caboose, but I think it fits better by the restrooms in that little round place. And it's called Missouri Fish. I've got pictures of them here, so does Wayne. And there was one called Serendipity, which might be nice by the pool, in that little landscaped circular area. And the Arts Council will work on getting the wall primed and painted. Mounting, I hope we could get some help by you guys. And what else? Oh, we're going to do some plaques for the ones that don't have plaques on them to say who did it and who they're by. So that would be a start on sculptures about town. We have some ideas about bringing in other artists and other sculptures too, for sure. So I don't know if we need to vote to be able to do this, or if we want to
Well, okay.
have
yeah,
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get, I have pictures of the sculptures in case people haven't seen them, and then.
So right now you're talking putting up 6.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
6. You're right.
And the one, I just have one concern and about the pool, because I don't know how much it costs to put these in, but and I'm not trying to hold it up, I'm just thinking that if we're gonna be demolishing in that area in the next couple years
We could hold off.
for the one by the pool,
Yeah.
until we know what I mean, the other areas sound good, but I mean, the one by the pool, because we don't know what we're doing with that area yet.
Right. And that we,
They would be easily, they'll be mounted to a concrete base, but, I mean,
it
they
can
would
be moved.
They
Oh,
could be
okay.
moved easy.
So it's not like one freestanding in the ground.
No, it wouldn't be in the ground, it would be attached to a concrete base. So there's, I think you mentioned last meeting, there's one at the library, and so I
Right.
actually took a picture of that one the other day, the base, and, you know, the base is, I don't know, maybe about that thick or so.
Okay.
And then they're mounted to that, and so they're pretty substantial. I shook that one over there, and it didn't go anywhere, so that was good.
But there's a bed there already, right? It's in that circle?
It's
Yeah.
in a circle bed.
Right,
And
right.
so it'd be highly
Already
visible,
landscaped.
and people don't really walk through there, so they shouldn't be shouldn't be really hanging on them or anything like that.
It's behind the pool.
Right.
But I have pictures of, well, I have pictures of all the sculptures, if you guys want to see it after the meeting, and then I have pictures of most of the locations that Rebecca mentioned, so.
Yeah, and there's one more too up by Fifth, is it Fifth and Oak? where that little,
Where the little benches?
yes, is that Fifth and Oak?
Fifth and
Yeah. Or is it
Elm.
Elm.
Elm and Oak? Elm and Oak? Okay, well, anyway, that would be one more idea. And, you know, that's not putting them all out, but that's a good number of them, and I think they'd look good. And we could see what happens as far as vandalism. That's my one
course.
worry, but,
Rebecca, what's your timeline on this?
oh, I'd like to get them up this spring, yeah.
This spring, okay, and what, the next steps then is for the park board to approve, or, and then it goes to council?
Yeah, I've got a board meeting tomorrow night, but, oh, to city council?
Yes,
Oh, city council.
the city council.
Yeah.
Does it go to the city council, Jeff, do you know?
Well, somebody has to pay for it,
Okay, we're
Yeah,
done.
if we have to pay for anything, it has to go through that for sure.
right? I mean, because,
I mean, just the approval of the locations, I mean,
well, but doesn't somebody, is the art council
I think the-
pay for?
The Arts Council, if it goes through my board, will pay for that painting, that priming and painting. You know, that cement is a mess back
Right,
there.
Right, but not like for the concrete.
And the concrete is something that we have from the bottom of old mailboxes or something. And John Vittmeyer actually had that idea.
He's
and I
got
think-
five or six contracts
Yeah, so,
saved.
Okay.
So I think the cost will be minimal. I met with Larry last Friday at his house, and they do the ones that we have to attach to bases, which is, I think, probably most of them. He has a company here in town that makes special stainless steel clips that then you're able to bolt them to the base. And so I took a picture of what was over at the library. And so there would be some costs there, but I think the other costs would be minimal, at this point anyways, as far as I know, unless we run into some unforeseen circumstance. But I think, talking with Darren Lamb, I think I can get you pictures of locations and the artwork and stuff like that, and I think it needs to be approved by Park Board, but I don't know that it needs to go all the way up the ladder.
well, I was going through some minutes, and I ran across this damn thing, and I brought it along. It's called the Public Art and Policy Procedures
oh, yes,
from 2016.
yes.
But anyway, it says here, city council, governing body that has the final authority to designate public property resources and approval to support the public art program. So, based on that, I would think it'd have to go before,
Well, we did go through the city council to do the mural,
yes, yeah.
so
I remember that.
I'd be
Yes.
happy to go through the city
Yeah.
council with you.
So we can make our
We
recommendation.
can make the recommendation, and
Yeah.
then it would have to go to the council, yeah.
My question is, you know, you're talking 5 or 6 pieces of art by one artist. Is that awfully strong as far as, you know, committing space to one artist? How does the council feel about that?
Well, the art, we would like to see more artists eventually, but these were just largely donated, you know, it was a big deal by Larry. And we don't have any other sculptures purchased at this point, and we can make that an effort. And I'd like to see that happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the city has these, they're ours, and they're in storage. They've been in storage for, I think, 3 years, so we just want to get them out now and out to the, public and have them sit in storage. So there's no pressure or anything like that. That's just kind of the idea behind getting them out.
Thank you.
And maybe, Gavin, from us, we promote various artists that they could donate things to the Art Council or suggest different, so it's not just all saturated. Because I don't think some people know that they could do that. You know what I mean? Like, where do I go if I have an art idea for the city? And so, you know what I mean? We need to promote the Art Council more so we can get more things in the park.
Right, the Art Council has recently grown, and we've got some marketing people, and the Hayneses on board, and
Right.
I think it's a good thing.
Right.
So, yeah. And there are sculpture contests that have been done, and we're looking into that. We don't want it to be just one artist all the time.
Right.
And they could rotate, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a real good idea.
What's the
It
name?
it seems like it's primarily located in the downtown area or anything. Did you consider, or we consider Phoenix Park? Or would that be a good?
Which park?
Phoenix Park?
Phoenix Park.
I mean, my opinion or what my thinking is, I mean, we'll consider anywhere, but I'd like to have them because they're not like, I mean, they're not super sturdy. I mean, they're not like real thick stainless steel. Like I've seen some that are real thick. I just get leery of putting them in places where there's not a lot of eyes on them. So like Phoenix is, you know, I love Phoenix Park, but I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that could happen to it over there where no one would,
Okay.
see it. That's just what I was thinking. I'm open to wherever.
Phoenix Park
Makes
is supposed to be more natural too, so I don't know.
Well, that's a good point, yeah.
They would really fit in there. I think the other places downtown would be more cohesive to.
Yeah, I don't, not knowing what they look like though, that, the big wall where like the big building is, that building.
Yeah.
There might be a spot if it could hang on one of those walls. I love the idea that it, back on the concrete wall there. But there might be, because Phoenix, they also have like various tennis tournaments. I mean, there's a lot of people that go out there. I wouldn't necessarily put it on the walk, but maybe it could be attached to the building. Just a thought.
Is there a plaque or a nameplate or something that goes along with the sculpture?
The Arts Council is purchasing those.
So it'd be put up at the same time?
Yeah. When we decide which ones we're going to put up, we'll get them.
Any other questions, Rebecca, or any other?
Well, one more thing about placement is we're also working on doing a art district along with the historical district down here. And I'm going to a conference Monday and Tuesday in Columbia to find out a little bit more about that. Meanwhile, I've been eyeballing that Third and Oak lot by, that belongs to LB or the bank or somebody like that, because with when the old board was on, they had talked to him about making that into a sculpture park. He doesn't necessarily want a sculpture park, but he would be interested in, possibly interested, Sandy and Darren and I are going to talk to him one of these days about garden park or lumberyard square and just making something out of that area to continue the arts district.
Okay.
Anything else?
Did you want to give an update on the kite?
Oh, well, we did purchase a kite, and we had the same person who did the mural paint it for us, because that's the only person who responded to my call out. And it's a beautiful little kite, and we're trying to hang it up somewhere. I had thought about the lamppost in the farmer's market, and then after that big windstorm the other day, I thought, oh no, it's got to go up against a wall or somewhere. So we're looking for a spot, and it's going to be hung up.
Yeah. We have it down in the parks office right now. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
We have two of them down there right now.
Oh, the other thing was, you mentioned a frame for the posters. Is that really going to be lit, or how hard should I look into that at the
I
moment?
don't know about that, but I'd like to see it.
Our posters have gotten kicked in, that's the thing. So I either have to get metal plaques, or get a frame for them, or get something that you could click on your phone and the explanation comes up.
So
paint it on
just to be
there.
clear, these are the posters for the mural, the Washington, Missouri mural down.
It tells what each letter represents.
Right now, it's just, there's
Yeah.
a sign that's tied to the fence. And, it's pretty, I think it gets beat up some. And so I was hoping that the Art Council could come up with a more substantial sign that would be less prone to destruction.
We've talked about it, and we'll bring it up again, especially if they'll be lit. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what's your thoughts on this? When do you want to get this, let's say,
Well, I can,
For
we
this.
can, I can get you the pictures by next meeting, you know, we can talk about, we can vote on it next meeting. I can get the locations out, some of the pictures we've taken of the location, potential locations, I should say. And then I have pictures in that book right now of all the pieces that the city has in storage. And I can try to send those out digitally too, if that's, you know, helpful.
okay.
But
So
yeah,
that
I'd
would-
like to, you know, get
That would
going.
mean it would go to council in June, I would assume, right?
Yeah,
Or would it be
maybe,
Still
maybe
in-
the second meeting in May,
still in May? Yeah, okay,
possible. Yeah, maybe the second meeting in May.
okay, sounds good.
I'll send you which ones I thought might be the best.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks.
Old business, update of the main stage fence.
Okay, main stage fence, it's been a long, slow process, very time-consuming just because of, you know, the, where it is and how big it is and things like that. But it is going out to bid. It'll be in the paper this Saturday, so I sent the invite to the Missourian today. So that's moving along, slowly but surely. B, update on aquatic facility. Not a ton going on there yet. We are kind of, I don't know if I'd say standstill, but I have some research to do. We had that last meeting, and I think it was beginning of mid-March, and we're going to get out to visit some pools. I did contact a company that has built some pools that would be similar in size to our water footage. And they sent me some literature and pictures and brochures back to me, so I need to get those out. And then Darren Lamb and I are working on a timeline, kind of a backwards timeline on potential start date, and then, you know, when we need to go out for RFQs, and then when we need to do these potential pool visits. And so we're slowly working our way backwards, so hopefully I'll have a better update for you next meeting, next month. And then motorsports arena renter, that's all moving along. Council passed his one-time fee of $4,000, and so he's moving along with that. There hasn't been any hiccups in the road or anything that I know of with that. So,
Has he submitted a date yet?
yes, June 22nd. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on old business? New business, Arbor Day event at Winter Pools?
Arbor Day, you guys all know about it. I sent out I think the flyer to you in the past. I do have some paper copies here if you need one. We need, you know, if you're able to attend that day, it's Saturday, April 27th at Miller Post from 10 to 2. And we'll have a number of things going on there. You know, there'll be educational booths. We have some schools that are going to plant some trees up there. We'll have a portable sawmill or education seminar. So he'll go over, you know, what a portable sawmill is, what it does, things like that. And then we'll have a demonstration or educational seminar on tree injections. The mayor will we have an Arbor Day proclamation that'll be read. So hopefully it doesn't rain, and I think it'll be a real good event for that park, getting people up there and learning about the park. So hopefully you guys can make it.
Wayne will have food there too from.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. If anybody
that's-
wants to help
Right.
with food, please let me know. I mean, it's hot dogs. I mean, but John and I are kind of, well, I think it's gonna be me, really. So, I really think I need some help from you guys. If you would consider helping me sell hot dogs, because John, I think, is helping Dave do something. So, anyway, there will be food. So if you're open and you could give me an hour or two, just give me a call, and we could find out times and.
Right, we hope about 11 to 1, something like that, having the hot dogs. And then we'll have free trees from the Conservation Department there too. And we'll have seed from the Prairie Foundation. So we'll have a bunch of stuff that we'll be working with that day.
Yep.
The idea is too, we're going to try to have 4 schools plant trees. The idea of that is to get the school kids involved out there. So we're going with the 8th grade class from Borgia, Lords, Emmanuel, and 5th Street, or junior high, I think, or
Yeah.
5th Street, I'm not for sure. Be west, yeah. But anyhow, we try to get 4 different schools involved, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of people excited about coming out and seeing their tree then.
Do we have an area ready for those trees?
Yes, Josh has been, he's got an area all in mind where they'll be planting
Is that
them.
gonna
He's
be
been,
part of the Arboretum?
I think this will be different.
They're going by the cabin, and it's 4 native oaks, all 4 different varieties.
So,
No honeysuckle, right?
Very good.
No honeysuckle.
next on new business, soccer fees. So just an update of where we are. There has been some new development. So we met, I guess it was mid-March, the Fees and Charges Committee, and discussed soccer fees, and what was proposed was that the unlit game fees would stay the same, so it's $25, and that the lit game fees would be raised by by $5. And that was basically to pay to run the electric for an hour for a game is $15. So if you take 25 plus 15, that's 40. So the fee went from 35 to 40. The fee was, suggested to go from 35 to 40. I sent this information out to the soccer. Oh, and then I guess the other major development would be charging for practices. The Soccer Association, I met with Sarah Loff, the president, I think the same day as our meeting, as our Fees and Charges Committee meeting. And she had mentioned to me that the Soccer Association wanted to have their most competitive teams to be able to play on a game field. And right now, the teams aren't allowed to have practices on the game fields. They can have practices in other parks around the city at no charge, green space for no charge, but they haven't been able to practice on the game fields. And so the committee suggested that we charge a fee to have practices on the game field to help pay for the wear and tear on the game fields. And so I sent this information to the president of the Soccer Association, and she is requesting a meeting with the Fees and Charges Committee to discuss the potential changes. So I sent her an email 2 days ago, I believe, and asked her to throw out some dates where we could all meet, and I asked her to, keep in mind that the people on the Fees and Charges Committee work, so like 4 o'clock or so, but I have not heard back from her. So once I hear back from her, I'll let you know, see if we can work out a date where the Fees and Charges Subcommittee can meet with the Soccer Association Board. So that's kind of where we are on that. Next on the list is something new, park benches and tree memorials. I'm looking to form a subcommittee to kind of evaluate our current program for both benches and trees. And then, because right now the problem we're having is we're out of space down on the riverfront. The trees, we need trees in certain parks. People want trees where they want trees. I think some of the fees aren't covering the total costs of our program. So I'm kind of looking for a total revamp. I need a subcommittee to do some research on locations, potential locations, fees, what should be charged, what covers, and I can help with all this. I have a lot of this information too. But basically pricing, placement, design, when I say design, benches, the bench that we're installing, and installation. And so there's a variety of different costs that go into these things. It takes a plaque of some kind. A lot of the benches take concrete bases. You have the bench cost itself, the tree cost itself, things like that. And so I'm hoping right now for a tree we charge $250, and I'm pretty sure we're losing money on that. We're not covering our costs. And then for the benches, we had been charging, depending on the bench, what they wanted, between $800 and $1,000. But that's just for the bench itself. That didn't take in the cost of, excuse me, the cost of the concrete base and the plaque. So
Labor?
yeah, and labor too. So
Is this by ordinance now, or is this like our fees to rent places in the park system is all in an ordinance?
it's not in the ordinance, no.
Okay. All right.
So
So how many people you want on this committee, and do you want them from this board?
yeah, I was hoping to have them from this board, and I'll take
Okay.
2 or 3 people probably.
Okay.
Is there anyone on Urban Forestry Council? Do they still hold meetings?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Is there someone that needs to be from there too, or is that not
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
probably not a bad idea. Yeah.
No, I'm not on it, but John is. I'll nominate John.
Atta girl.
I mean,
But you tell John what to do, so.
yeah.
We're getting all kinds of nominations with no
No,
volunteers.
But, I do think it would be good with urban forestry because of the
Somebody.
tree part. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What's your timeline on this, may I ask? One meeting a month, 2 meetings a month? or
Probably 1 meeting a month, maybe 2 tops.
Starting,
Where are we in? Starting in May.
okay. All right.
I wouldn't mind doing that. I've helped Josh placing the trees before. I think John would be a real asset because
Yeah,
John,
just put John down.
yeah. See? I mean, John has worked
Well,
with,
yeah.
John and I worked with Josh on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
like
so that would be good.
That way you get the right trees, because I know we've had a lot of trees that around the lake that probably were not the right choices, and,
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone wants them around the lake too.
right, that's one of the problems we've been having. And then we've had some at the All Abilities and some at the Angel of Hope Garden, and so.
Gavin, you'd be good.
I'd be willing to serve on it,
Be good.
yeah. I don't know anything about trees, but
Oh, Sparky is.
I'd like the money side of it.
Okay.
And I have some information too that since I've been here, I've been kind of digging up and looking around too. So I think we have probably a good start on it. So, okay.
So who else from from our board? You
We have Dave and Sparky.
and me and you?
I will if you want me.
Gavin would
Gavin
be
would be
good.
great, too,
He'd
yeah.
be good.
Yeah,
That way, and then if you had John, and that's 4 of you, and if somebody misses, you still got
yeah. Be 3 from our board plus
urban forestry.
from the urban forestry, so that'd be good. That's fine. Okay with you, Gavin?
I was gonna put you next, but
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
I would venture to look into that there may be a price set for the park dedication benches already in an ordinance. I'm not saying that there may or may not be, but there may be something already in an ordinance what those benches are. That people, because I know like,
check.
Yeah, I can
Mr.
check.
Whitworth,
Yeah.
Leon has his bench down there and a couple others on the trail, that there was a standard anyway, if not an ordinance, so maybe something we want to check into. And you have, whether that changes, stays the same or whatever, but I think there is something set, so
Yeah.
keep that in
I think it was a certain type of bench, but I think one of the concerns I had was now putting the base under all those. That wasn't covered, it was just the bench cost.
Right,
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest issue.
right. I just want you to go in knowing that there
Right.
is a price set out there somewhere.
Okay.
It matters as far as finding the right.
And then this committee would come up with a recommendation.
Correct. If it needs
For
to-
for the council to change.
Yep.
If that's sufficient, or if it needs to
Yep.
be increased, then so be it. But that's, you should have a baseline to start on, I guess.
Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, and then, finally, you'll be seeing this a little more often on, under new business or even old business. Dog park, so I met with the dog park group, recently, Amy Niehaus?
Niehaus.
Yeah.
Niehaus, is kind of the main person. And she kind of gave me a history of the dog park and all the progress that's been made in recent years. She had some requests of some things that the dog park group would like to see over there. And one of them is, the biggest one right now is the addition of a small dog area in the dog park. And so I asked her, she had something in mind where she thought it should be. I asked her to go out and mark an area where she thought it should be with some spray paint. And so she did that, and then Chad went over and measured it out, and we have the dimensions of what it would be. And then from when the original dog park was built, we had extra fencing panels left over. And so we're determining right now, we're in the process of determining how many panels we're going to need for this small dog park area. And once we determine that, then we'll have to figure out what it's going to cost labor-wise to install it, or how it'll be installed. With that said, I told her, you know, there was some, I've been over there a few times now. There's some spring cleaning that we needed to be done. So we seed and strawed last week over there, the bare spots, or the big bare spot. There's some potholes at the beginning, right when you drive in. Public Works put a nice new blacktop, I guess you would say apron kind of there at the beginning, I think just today. There's some plants that were dead, that died over the winter, that the dogs have urinated on, that we'll replace. So just small stuff. The granite fines as you walk down the trail to the entrance were washed out over the winter, and so we took a bobcat over there and pulled those back onto the walkway. And so we did a lot of small spring cleaning things for the dog park people. But I just want to keep it on the agenda, just because there's a lot going on over there, and kind of a vocal group sometimes. So, you know, there's some signage that they're wanting and different things like that. So we'll slowly work through that process.
Yeah, and right now, there's nothing in the budget for,
No, nothing right now for dog park. You know, we'll have to figure out how we can do a small fence in an area. The other caveat with that is they want to do the small dog park area, which is fine, but they also want to do then
They don't want to
the
lose
space
any
that the space that they take for the small dogs, they want on the other end of the fenced area, they want to add they don't want to lose space for the large dogs, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So they want to add or expand to the other end of the existing dog park. And so if they do that, or if that's the case, then we'll have to figure out how many panels that's going to take and how many fence posts and labor for that too. So
I believe whenever they put the fence up, I think they had a work day, a volunteer work day
they did.
that helped.
And they're proposing that again too,
Okay.
for the small dog park area. So we're right now with the small dog park, I forgot to mention this. We have all the panels, but it will take a gate, which we don't have, and then 2 special gate posts. And so that would be a purchase that we'd have to make too. So
Okay.
kind of just slowly working through that.
So if the budget is that tight to where, you know, the gate and the posts for the gate, you know, are kind of a strain on the budget, do they not have to kind of make a decision what they want to see, either a small dog park or the expansion?
I think that,
Can we do, in other words, can we do both for them?
I don't know. That's, we're trying to figure that out right now. I mean, it really depends on how big that, the expansion of the large dog park area would be. You know, we're still figuring that out, basically. I don't know.
On you all in, but I think they're pretty good about fundraising.
They are, yeah,
They raised a lot of money.
they do, yeah, they do have some money, and they do fundraise too, so I think
Take one fence and move the whole thing out.
what I gathered from Amy is things were slow recently with doing projects over there, and so they're kind of holding back a little bit until they see a little progress, so that's what I'm trying to do, is get a little progress going over there.
With the expansion or adding the small dog area, wouldn't it be less expensive just to keep the way it is right now than add something on the outside for the small dogs?
Well, I think it would be adding to the inside, so we would,
I know, but wouldn't it be, just keep the fencing the way it is right now for the large dogs and then add an area for the small dogs somewhere?
Or, I think what they did when they originally did that, their fence was supposed to go down the center, and when you walked in there, you could either go right or left. So that once your dog was in that area, it wouldn't get loose, and you could go to the right or the left.
yes, I think you're right.
That's the way it was.
And so the water,
So what's the gate needed for
it's to
then?
the right.
So your dog doesn't get away.
It's like a double gate system. You walk in the gate, you unleash your dog, and then you decide if you want to go
Go
this
the
way
big
or
dog
that
or
way.
small
Okay,
Once you're
okay,
inside there.
all right.
And so the water spigots are also, you know, they're pretty close to each other, and so that fence, if you walked in the gate there right now,
Pick it up and throw it in one hand.
you'd, the fence dividing the small dog area from the large dog area would cut those two hydrants. You know, one would be on the large dog side and one would be on the small dog side, so they both had access to water.
Okay.
And that is another, that water thing, which is relatively new, I believe, was installed late last year. It's becoming a muddy mess, and so they were proposing a concrete pad around the water spigots, because the dogs are standing or laying in mud when they get a drink. And so, you know, that's kind of costly. But I propose to put in some landscaping blocks with a base as a temporary fix. And so the guys are looking into that, and you should probably see that relatively soon. And we'll just have blocks there, so at least they're not standing, when they're getting a drink, they're not standing in mud and then getting in your car and going home. So,
Any other questions on the dog park? Anybody? Okay. Anything else?
that's all I have.
Anything from the members of the board? Okay. So our next meeting is May 1st. Need to call for adjournment.
I will make a motion.
You made the motion. We're to go Gain. And seconded by, okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? See you all.
We'll order your shirt.
Have a great one.
Yeah, you gotta order a shirt tonight.
Kevin, we'll see you later.
It was in the minutes.